Adham Srila Govinda Devo Preshtalibhi Devyamano Smarami Swaha 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 Shriman Rasarasarambhi Vangshi Vata Tatastitaha Karshan Venusvanayar Gopir Gopinatha Shriyestunaha Swaha 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 Taptakanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Rishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Swaha 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 Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Vivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Swaha 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 Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Swaha Swaha Swaha. Final mantra. Got a special name. Purnahoti. You have to take your banana. Hold it. Stand. 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 And hold in your hand like this. And when the swaha comes, you very gently place in the fire. Namo Brahmanya Devaya Go Brahmana Hitaya Cha Jagat Hitaya Krishnaya Govindaya Namo Namaha Swaha Swaha Swaha. Take it away. You don't need a microphone. Initiates, you can circumambulate the fire. No, you're okay. Okay. Situate so you can see the screen. Yeah, you just take your mat and sit on the other side over there somewhere. Traditionally, this part of the presentation, this initiation, happens earlier, but we adjusted because of our circumstance. And the plan is to give you a miniature review of what this visit has been discussing, as you see on the screen. Canto 3, Chapter 29, Lord Kapila's teachings to Devahuti. The chapter is called Explanation of Devotional Service. So the plan is to give you a mini review of what we discussed. And we'll see if there's some questions or comments or anything at the end. Many of you know Kapila Dev is especially renowned, well known for his teaching Sankhya Yoga. Sankhya Yoga is a little on the technical side and the philosophical technical side. And literally, Sankhya means to count. And so there's categories of matter, and 25, 24, sometimes 25 different items within the field of the material energy. So he explains all of that and how those fields of the material energy arise from spirit. So he discusses categories of spirit in the earlier Sankhya philosophy. But the purpose, very much similar to what Krishna does in Bhagavad Gita, the purpose behind Sankhya is to become focused upon the Supreme. So there, in the sequence of this chapter, 29 speaks about devotional service. That's the title of the chapter, Explanation of Devotional Service. And in the course of this presentation, he gives a definition of what bhakti is, and then gives a definition of the topmost stage of bhakti, which is pure devotional service. So there's the verse, and here's the verse number. It's verse 11 and 12, and I'm going to read the English translation. The manifestation of unadulterated devotional service is established when one's mind is at once attracted to hearing the transcendental name and qualities of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is residing in everyone's heart. Just as the water of the Ganges flows naturally down towards the ocean, such devotional ecstasy, uninterrupted by any material condition, flows towards the Supreme Lord. Now, some of you like Srimad Bhagavatam. And those of you that like Srimad Bhagavatam, one of the relishable sections of Srimad Bhagavatam is the prayers of Queen Kunti. Prayers of Queen Kunti is in Canto 1, Chapter 8. And Kunti says essentially the same thing. Same metaphor. She prays to Krishna as the Ganges flows inexorably towards the sea. Similarly, let my mind flow towards you, Krishna. You know, in that metaphor, her mind is the Ganges and Krishna is the sea. Let my mind flow towards you. So here, Kapila Deva is saying essentially the same thing. That the mind of the conditioned soul, the mind of the pure devotee, flows naturally towards Krishna in a loving, conditional mode. And the success that comes from that pure devotional service is complete satisfaction of the heart. Some of you like Bhagavatam, and you know there's a very nice verse. We discussed it on Friday evening, and here's the verse. We can say it together, those of you who like Sanskrit verses. Savai pungsam paro dharmo yato bhaktir adhoksaje ahaisaki apratihata yayatma suprasidati. The supreme occupation, or dharma, for all humanity is that by which men can attain to loving devotional service unto the transcendent Lord. Such devotional service must be unmotivated and uninterrupted to completely satisfy the self. So this is summarizing in an earlier part of the Bhagavatam what it says in multiple places, including chapter 29 of Canto 3, pure devotional service. So the transcendent Lord is the object, and hearing and chanting about that transcendent Lord is a natural way of devotional service. And when that devotional service is unmotivated and uninterrupted, it can completely satisfy the self, that the Atma suprasidati. Or, not in the words of the Bhagavatam, but in the words of a conventional person, why look any further if you've discovered complete satisfaction? Krishna says the same thing in Bhagavad Gita. How to give up the lesser taste by having a higher taste. Param drishtva navartate. And then the contrast is that lower taste. Vishaya. Sense enjoyment. Vishaya. Vishaya vinivartante niraharasya dehinam. Rasovarjam rasopyasya param drishtva navartate. You don't need to look further if you have param drishtva or a higher taste. Same explanation. These are points that we discussed during this past few number of days on Canto 3, Chapter 29. Really simple. No one's going to argue. The goal of human endeavors is to become happy. And that's not only the statement in Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 2, Text 6, but it's also in Priti Sandarbha. A little background for those that are not familiar. One of the 6 Goswamis of Vrindavan, the youngest amongst them, was named Jiva Goswami. And Jiva Goswami was a lover of Srimad Bhagavatam. He was such a lover of Srimad Bhagavatam that he wrote 4 commentaries on Srimad Bhagavatam. He really liked Srimad Bhagavatam for good reason. One of those commentaries that he wrote was like Prabhupada did, verse by verse. And he gave it the name Krama Sandarbha. Krama means step. Step by step, going through the whole Bhagavatam and making commentary on almost every verse in the Bhagavatam. And then another one of those commentaries, one of his 4, was topic by topic commentary. And he divided that one into 6 Sandarbhas. And the final of the 6 Sandarbhas was called, as you see on the screen, Priti Sandarbha. Priti literally means affection. The affection one who is in love feels for the beloved. It's used almost interchangeably with prema. Prema is a stage of bhakti. It's prema bhakti, love of God. And the feelings that one feels in prema bhakti is priti. So he has a whole sandarbha just on the topic of priti. And here's the very first verse. It says the same thing. The goal of the human being is attaining happiness and destroying suffering. Complete happiness and destruction of suffering is attained only by priti. for the Lord. So the whole topic is attaining priti by attaining affection for the personality of Godhead. So it's the culmination of everything else that came before those first 5 sandarbhas, and then finally priti sandarbha. So that was our end goal or focus. And in chapter 29 of the 3rd canto, Kapila Deva is teaching about respect. And one of the things he says about respect is that it's an antidote, or it's medicine for the poison of thinking that one is engaged in bhakti when one doesn't even know what bhakti is. And one does things that are offensive in the name of engaging in bhakti. So he describes what those mistakes are, or mistaken understandings are. And here's a commentator on this particular section of Canto 3, Chapter 29. The commentator's name is Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, very celebrated commentator. And he writes, that Kapila Deva is speaking deliberately with exaggerated anger to impress a particular point. And what's that particular point, and why the anger? He writes, because people superficially say, yes, I follow bhakti, but in reality, they violate fundamental principles of bhakti. And that he outlines as being respect for other living beings. Why? Because the Supreme Lord is in the heart of every living being. And you can say, I love the Lord, but I don't love other beings because, they're not so lovable. But the Lord within the heart is lovable, and therefore they should be lovable because he's in their heart. It's like, I don't like your car. Well, the car is not the person. The passenger is the person. I don't like a Rolls Royce, or I don't like a Mercedes Benz, or I don't like a whatever. I don't like Tesla because But the person is not the car. The person is not the covering of the soul. But it's the soul is fully transcendental, and within, side by side with the soul, is the Supreme Soul. And being disrespectful to beings that are cohabiting. Uh-oh. I'm going to check my phone to make sure it doesn't do that. Okay. It's a major part of the whole chapter, respect of other living beings. And that the people say they're practicing bhakti, but they don't have respect for other living beings, according to Vishwanath, makes him angry. And so, continuing, that same commentator and Jiva Goswami explained there are 4 verses after describing the pure devotional service. He describes what pure devotional service isn't. It's pure devotional service that's mixed with the poison of envy. And then poison can be in different degrees. So he has 4 verses that says the same thing 4 times. Stages of envy. That's what we're discussing. And the antidote for that envy is respect. He declares, you will never achieve anything in your devotional service unless you understand that the Lord is in every living entity and respects every living entity. Well, what about people that are nasty? And what about people that are Duryodanas? And, what about, won't name some other names. Some contemporary people are nasty people. And I'm supposed to, you have to love the behavior of a nasty, but within the heart is the Supreme Lord. So you can respect the Supreme Lord who is within the heart, and thereby have at least respect that in the heart of this nasty is the Supreme Lord. So respect goes to the Supreme Lord. Now, to help illustrate this, there's a common famous story in Vrindavan. It's a nice story. The story goes like this: once upon a time. All good stories start with once upon a time, right? Once upon a time, there was a Brahmana. Now, the Vrindavan story says the Brahmana, here's his quality. He was very learned, he was very pious, he was very charitable, he was very this and very that. But he was a little proud, a little haughty, a little condescending towards others because I'm a Brahmin and you're not. Da, 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 da. You know, it wasn't like waving a flag like that, but there was something inside. And a certain stage of his maturity came when he decided, I want to leave all this opulence and wealth and, prestige, and I want to go to Vrindavan. I want to go to Vrindavan and take shelter of a spiritual master. So he left everything, went to Vrindavan and met a sadhu. However, the story in Braja goes, the sadhu could detect this fragrance of a bad smell, his pride. So when he asked for diksha, mantra diksha, he didn't say yes, but he didn't say no, but he didn't say yes either. He kept putting him off. So he came back and came back and came back, and finally the Guru saw this man is determined, and so I'll give him an opportunity to purify himself. He's sincere, he really wants. So he said to the Brahmin, in 1 week's time, it's not a Purana, it's a Brijvasi story. But the sadhu said, come back in a week and I'll give you diksha, provided you can bring before me someone who's lesser than you. Humility, and to replace the haughtiness. So the Brahmana thought, piece of cake. Everybody is less than me. But by being in Vrindavan and having the little association that he had with the sadhu, he had become somewhat purified. Significantly, actually, purified. So he thought, here in Vrindavan, there's a colony where there's street sweepers called bungis. So he went to the bungi colony and in searching for someone lower than him, and he found a street sweeper. And he was thinking, I'll bring this man to meet my sadhu, my guru. But then he thought a little more deeply and thought, well, this Vrindavan resident, he's been sweeping the streets and the dust of Vrindavan, he's been purified for his whole lifetime in contact with the dust of Vrindavan. So he's not lower than me. So he passed by the street sweeper and thought, maybe a cow. It's not human species, that's less than me. So in meditating upon the cow, he started appreciating the qualities of the cow. And thought, gosh, she just eats grass and she gives milk. He gives milk to satisfy many, many, many people. And without asking anything, she just eats grass and gives milk. He's very charitable. And I'm not like that. So then he thought, this is the Brijvasi story. So then he thought, maybe a dog. And those of you that have been in India, there's street dogs here and there, and he found one. Street dog. But then he thought more deeply about the dog and thought, but generally speaking, dogs are very faithful. And I'm not so faithful. I'm not like a dog. So the dog's not lower than me. Then he thought, my stool. That's definitely lower than me, my stool. But then he thought more about what the stool is. It's just, since I've been here in Vrindavan, I'm just taking prasadam. It's just prasadam, processed by the body, and that's not lower than me. It's prasadam. It's Krishna's mercy. Then he thought, aha, I know the worm in the stool. You see in the illustration here, there's a little worm. Worm in stool is definitely lower than me. But he thought, no, because what does a worm do? He takes this despicable stuff, this stool of an animal, and transforms it into fertilizer. It's something you can grow vegetables and nice things in your garden, and I'm not like that. So a week passed, and he came back to his guru and said, I couldn't find anybody lower than me here in Vrindavan. So his guru gave him Diksha. Because he had given up this haughtiness and instead had become humble. It's a nice little narration. Jiva Goswami expresses something very similar. Now, remember, there are two acharyas, Jiva Goswami and Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, that comment on these verses from Canto 3, Chapter 29, and explain these 4 stages of increased envy are part of what Kapila Deva is teaching. So he discusses this topic and quotes 2 verses from Agni Purana. And the 2 verses in Agni Purana are spoken by the father of Shravan Kumar. Now, some of you have been around for a while, you know who Shravan Kumar is. Shravan Kumar is the son of the blind father that Dasarath killed. He killed the son, Shravan Kumar. So here's the story of Shravan Kumar. Dasarath, being a king, had not only a license, but had a duty to give protection to his citizens, and sometimes to practice his skill of archery, he'd go into the forest and hunt, not for the purpose of eating the animal that was killed, but practicing his shooting skills. So he had this capacity that he could fire arrows and hit the target without even seeing the target, just by sound. So one day he's in the forest and he heard a sound, and it sounded like an animal drinking water from a reservoir of water. So quickly he shot the arrow and hit the target. But when he hit the target, it wasn't an animal after all, it was a human voice. A human voice called out loudly. So he quickly ran to the spot where he heard that voice come from, and sure enough, there was a young boy named Shravan Kumar, and he was mortally wounded. And poor young boy said to the king, "Please take care of my old and blind parents. I came to bring them water, and they depend on me as their only support." Imagine how King Dasarath felt. He felt terrible. So before the boy expired, he asked him, "Please guide me to where your mother and father are," blind mother and father. So he carried him in his arms, and Shravan Kumar directed him to get to the place where his father was. And when the father, who's blind, heard someone coming, he thought, my son has come back with water. But instead it was Dasarath, this dead son, or about to die son. And so the father called out, "Oh son, have you brought the water?" And Dasarath felt triple terrible. And he laid the son on the lap of his blind father and explained to his blind father what happened. And now by this time the son is dead. So the father felt terrible, and along with Dasarath felt terrible, and the boy is dead. The father lamented and asked why such a fate had befallen him. He spoke a curse. As I die from separation from my son, you too will die in the same way. And so it was. Because the man was a Brahmin. His elder, blind mother and father were Brahmins. So the words of a Brahmin are powerful. That's what happened to Dasarath. As powerful as Dasarath was, as elevated spiritually as he was, he died in the same condition. Then that's Ramayana, and then in Agni Purana it narrates the same sequence of events and ends with this. Because the father was an elevated person understanding Vedic principles, he knew that nothing happens without a cause. This is discussed in Jiva Goswami's Bhakti Sandarbha. You can look it up later if you like. And he gives the Sanskrit, 2 verses from Agni Purana. Here's one. He is reflecting on it. Why did this happen? Is there something bad that I did that caused this misery to come to me? So here's the Sanskrit of the verse. Perhaps I once saw the deity of the Lord and thought it as stone, Shilabhuti, considering it merely a well-decorated stone. This is a serious offense that the Lord can manifest anywhere. That was one. And then a second contemplation in the same Agni Purana, the next verse, here gives the Sanskrit, perhaps a Vaishnava once came before me, decorated by the signs of Vaishnava Bhakti, Vishnu Bhakti, Tilak and so forth. At that time, at that moment, I did not pay obeisances in my mind. Mental offense. And respect him properly. I didn't do that. Maybe that's what happened. So the indication is, Jiva Goswami is explaining to illustrate Kapila Dev's teachings in Canto 3, Chapter 29, that one can offend a Vaishnava, even a worshipper of the deity can offend a Vaishnava by not offering respect to the Vaishnava while worshipping the deity. Serious offense. Enough, at least in Shravan Kumar's father's consideration. Maybe that's why this misfortune came to me. One of the additional topics we discussed, I'm just doing a summary of some of the main points we covered. Chanakya Pandit, well known for his Artha Shastra, or how a person of this world can become prosperous. So instructions in social conduct to foster prosperity. So in the course of his instructions, he speaks of something that is necessary for one to prosper. And Dainya is our common word for humility, but Chanakya Pandit uses the word Vinaya, or humility, or good breeding, or discipline. And from that Vinaya, the very foundation of very Vedic culture is respecting superiors, which was a major part of what we discussed over the last few days. So here's a graphic to help explain, to illustrate Chanakya Pandit's teachings, and we're going to end. At the bottom is the roots of a tree, and then the trunk of the tree, and the branches of a tree, and the fruit at the top of the tree. So his teaching is, it's from the roots, or service to superiors, that one may develop the culture of humility. I'll say it again. By respecting superiors and serving superiors, one may develop the quality, is likely one will develop a quality of humility and discipline. So the things to do, things not to do, because I want to respect my superiors. And then one who has that humility and respecting superiors, they have sense control. And then one who has sense control may, through that service And the kindness of the superior, especially a sadhu, can get knowledge of the self, and otherwise we may not get it. And from knowledge of self, one may get ultimate knowledge of the Supreme. And one gets knowledge of the Supreme and lives their life that way, then all material and spiritual benefits will come to that person. That's the prosperity. All material and spiritual benefits. I'll say it one more time. All material and spiritual benefits come to that person who has God realization. And all the root of that tree that has the fruit at the top is respecting seniors or superiors. So here's a little breakdown of what he says. The Sanskrit terms are here. The one who has his senses under control can bring others under his influence. That's like, an objective for one who wants to be successful. Root of sense control is humility, vinaya. There's the Sanskrit that he uses. Indriya yayasya mulam vinaya. Mulam, the root of sense control. Indriya jayasya is humility. The root of sense control is humility. And where does one get humility? The root of humility is service to seniors, elders, guides. There's the Sanskrit phrase, Ridho Paseva. Ridho Paseva. That's the root of humility. And then when there's this service to superiors, then the door opens of vijnana. As a result of serving superiors, the seniors, a person becomes capable of attaining vijnana, or spiritual knowledge, the ability to comprehend the soul. Through realized knowledge, one realizes oneself. Atma, Atmanam, sampadayat. One who has perfected himself becomes self-conquered. The self-conquered person becomes endowed with all prosperity, material and spiritual. That's Chanakya. It's not scripture, it's not Puranas and Itihasas, and it's not that kind of text. It's social conduct. And through proper social conduct, starting with respecting superiors and spiritually elevated persons, humility, sense control, knowledge of the self, knowledge of the Supreme become possible. So we've spent a lot of hours together. So this, what I just have done, is a mini summary. So there, I'll summarize the mini summary. The goal, from Kapila's point of view, is to become a lover of God, to become a lover of the Supreme. We're from the Supreme, we're of the Supreme, we're meant to see everything in relation to that from which everything has come. Everything. Say it negatively. Is there some part of that which is created where Vishnu is absent? Answer, no. He's not only in the heart of every living being, he's within every atom. And how small is the atom? How small is he who is within the heart of every atom? But it's the same Paramatma that's in the heart of every living being, and between every atom. And is there some place where he isn't? He's everywhere. And that's the meaning of Vishnu. The all-pervasive, or he's everywhere. He's literally everywhere. There's not some place where he isn't. And God realization, or self-realization leading to God realization, means to experience that. Now, in the beginning stages, we don't experience that. We may have some teachings, and we may or may not fully embrace the teachings. But then the teachings are more than information that's meant to a way to live your life. And if you live your life that way, with respecting the Supreme Personality of Godhead who is within everything and everywhere and everyone, then you respect everything and everyone and everywhere in devotion. And why not? Because that's reality, as opposed to illusion, where we don't see that. And you follow that lifestyle, you follow the sadhana that's like that, and gradual purification up to the stage of coverings are gone, obstacles are gone, and original consciousness is revived, restored fully. Sadhana leads to sadhya. The practice leads to perfection. And that's what chapter 29 of Canto 3 is describing. And there's some obstacles. The main obstacle that he focuses on is envy. And the antidote for envy is respect. And there's teachings, in Kapila Dev's teachings and our acharyas that comment on respect. The absence of respect is disrespect. Supposing you don't disrespect, supposing this Brahman that came to meet the sadhu in Vrindavan, he wasn't disrespecting others in overt ways, but he was a little haughty. Little. And that's pride and lust. Pride and envy. And the Guru detected it, and he helped him become free from that. So, the whole chapter is teaching, say three things, basic three things. The goal of our life is to reawaken that which we have forgotten. That's our loving relationship with the Supreme. The medium is devotional service. But devotional service minus respecting other living entities where the Supreme Lord resides is immature. It's incomplete. He uses the word vidambanam, it's pretense. Like, you're a pretender. Ooh. Or imitation, another translation of the word vidambanam. Imitation, bhakti. So he wants his audience, us and his mother, to go beyond imitation bhakti to real bhakti. And respect is the medium. So lots and lots and lots of teachings. Learn devotional service while respecting others. And that's the pathway to overcome the obstacle that's blocking us from pure bhakti. It's a nice chapter. We had a nice time discussing this nice chapter. So I'm going to end. Look at the clock. It's 12:30. We're supposed to do something at 12:30. What are we supposed to do? Arti? 1 o'clock. Really? What? 1 o'clock is Arti time. Guess what? We have some time. Would anybody like to discuss any of these points? If not, we can just have kirtan till 1 o'clock. Yes. Yes, I did.
Just a clarification I was wanting. You mentioned that the father of Shravan Kumar was contemplating on what could have caused this situation.
Yes.
But we also know that despite that, he went ahead and cursed Dashrath Maharaj also.
Yeah, he did that.
So how do we understand that, Maharaj? I mean, if he's really contemplating, then he's thinking that the past, whatever karma has caused this, then he's still...
I see the conflict. But, sometimes people understand something and sometimes people speak like a knee-jerk. As I and experiencing this grief of my son dying. So as I'm dying in that condition, you will also. So it's a knee jerk. It's not specifically. Supposing he didn't say that. You hit the delete button, he didn't say that. Doesn't mean it's not going to happen. That means when we do something, we're responsible for that something. Even unintentional something. We misbehave unintentionally. We're responsible for that misbehavior. What to speak of intentionally? No, he's King Dasarath is a virtuous man. So he brought the son to his father and acknowledged his wrong. So the father could have said, well, thank you for coming and at least explaining and expressing your sorrow. It's very clear from the tone of your voice, although I can't see you. You feel very repentant and regretful of what you did. So because of that, I forgive you. So on the one hand, he's knowledgeable enough to know there's a cause. And on the other hand, he's feeling grief to such a degree that you will have to experience because it's going to happen anyways.
Yeah. Thank you,
It's like, Prabhupada saying, for one who slaughters a cow, as many hairs on the body of the cow will have to take birth and be slaughtered. It's a law of Manu. So I may not know the law, and the cow may not curse the person that does the slaughtering of the cow, but it's the law. As you sow, you shall reap. As you act, you're going to receive reaction for your actions, corresponding to your actions.
Hare Krishna Maharaj.
My goal.
So my question was, if you push someone to Krishna and they don't want to go to Krishna and they're older, is that disrespectful?
No. You can't. You can work the other way around. The elder could be saying to you, go back to Krishna. No. You can say to the elder, my dear elder, please go to Krishna. No. Did Prahlad say like that to his father? Yeah. My dear demoniac father, please go to Krishna. No. Vishnu, where is this Vishnu? He's everywhere. Oh, he's everywhere. Is he in this pillar? So sometimes elders have beans in their ears. They can't hear. And sometimes, youngsters have beans in their ears. They can't hear. So you can't get it inside the heart of another soul and make decisions for them. That even Krishna doesn't do that. So he's encouraging, but he doesn't interfere with false ego. We can't interfere with another person's false ego either. We can try to create circumstances favorable for them making wise decisions. In different, so many ways. One is setting a good example, but speaking and conduct and so forth. But they're going to make their decision. Does that answer your question?
Mm-hmm. Thank you, Maharaj.
Nice question. Krishna Swarup, you have something? Okay, your wife does. She always has.
Hare Krishna Guru Maharaj. This is about the Purushartha that you talked about, the Dharma, Artha, Kama, Moksha. That Purushartha, 4 items.
Yes, I got it.
Yeah. So I was just contemplating on that about like Varna Ashram Dharma.
About what?
Varna
Varnashram
Ashram
Dharma?
Dharma. So, and also we know Paradharma, that the goal for us. So could you please explain on that?
Explain on that what?
of
The
this,
distinction between Varnashram and Paradharma?
yeah,
That's what you want?
yeah.
I have to like decipher your questions to make sure I got the question. Varnashram is a system of social structure. Daivi Varnashram is targeting that social structure towards satisfying the Supreme. Is it possible that people can be organized socially according to Varnashram and not have the purpose of doing so to satisfy Vishnu? Yes. I'm a Kshatriya, and so I do a Kshatriya's dharma. I'm a Brahmana, so I do a Brahmana's dharma, without necessarily having para dharma for either. So para dharma is the personality of God attribute. It's essentially bhakti. But here's one for you. You ready? Question for you.
Yes, Maharaj.
The question is, there's a verse in Bhagavad Gita where Krishna indicates perform prescribed duty without attachment to the result. And that's karma yoga. And then there's another verse where Krishna says, Yad karoshi yadasnasi yad jahosi dadasi yad tapasyasi konteya tat karashramad arpanam. Mad arpanam, worship me by giving the results unto me. That's giving the results. That's karma yoga. Giving the results is different than, let me just do, instead of getting free from the entanglement of attachment to the results, I want moksha. I want free from the entanglement of being attached to the results. So I'll give the results to the Supreme. Supposing my conception of the Supreme is Brahman. It's not paradharma. It's not bhakti. It's karma yoga. Karma yoga in the context of varnashram, social and spiritual roles, occupation, and social position. Another example. Is it possible that one can take the vows of renunciation, sannyas, but not be devoted to the Supreme? Absolutely. Is it possible one can be a young student, a celibate student, and not be devoted to the Supreme? Yes, of course. Is it possible someone can be a married individual, be man or woman, and not devoted to the Supreme, and follow some rules for marriage? You know, things I'll do and things I won't do, but not devoted to the Supreme. Yes. So that's varnashram. Then there's daivi varnashram, or devotional service. So the social structure is that varnashram part, and the objective is the daivi part. So in one sense, that's what we're doing. We are being trained in devotional service, which is daivi varnashram, or sanatana dharma. Another word meaning the same thing. The Supreme, sanatana, is eternal. Eternally, eternally. He's the Supreme, and I'm the servant of the Supreme. Sanatana Dharma. Nothing but.
Thank you, Maharaj.
Okay? I think that's it. So, okay. I'm going to share a secret. I can understand when the audience is becoming restless when we get to the stage where people pull out their phone and start text messaging. So if you're one of those people that has that tendency, don't reach for your phone and text message. because that's, it's going to add to the distraction. Go ahead.
Hare Krishna. I was a little surprised when I saw that the goal of human life is to seek happiness.
Yeah, why not?
Oh,
But what is that happiness? Let me ask you, what's happiness?
well, actually, we don't have happiness.
No, but
We can
that's
pursue
materially.
happiness.
But
as in
yeah.
declaration, yeah.
But supposing somebody doesn't know what truth is with a capital T, they're going to accept something else as happiness. Yehi samsparshaja bhoga. You know the meaning? One who thinks samsparshaja, samsparsha, senses contacting a sense object. Happiness. Dukkha yonai evate. That's not what happiness is. It's the birthplace of distress, dukkha. That's not happiness. So then, is there such a thing as happiness? Yes. What's that happiness? It's when the lover is serving the beloved. And when the beloved is the supreme, and that love between the beloved and the lover is unobstructed by anything material, that's happiness. There's the direction, and then there's the fulfillment. There's the tree, then there's the ripened fruit at the top of the tree. So that's the ripened fruit. That's the real happiness. So that's what Priti Sandarbha is saying. It's real happiness. The real happiness.
Is it a process or the outcome?
That's a nice question. What do you think?
Well, I don't. I thought that the goal of human life is to seek freedom from this Durga.
But supposing, thank you for that.
And then, if we feel free, maybe we can become happy.
Maybe.
So then.
But let me take your question. There are 5 categories of liberation. According to our Vaishnava teaching, according to this Canto 3, Chapter 29, one who has achieved pure devotional service, even if offered moksha in the 5 categories of moksha, they say, no, thank you. Vishnu comes and says, my dear devoted individual, you're very nice. I'd like to give you a gift, liberation. Would you like it? The pure devotee will say, thanks, but no thanks. Why? Why would they say that? I'm addressing the conception that happiness is this liberation stage. So if they're being offered...
Not only like moksha, but every day we seek some freedom.
But
it could be a freedom of choice.
But we have that eternally, if you're in La La Land, you have freedom of choice. That's of the soul, intrinsic to the soul. You're never going to lose it. It's always with you. You can properly or improperly use it, but it's always with you. It's never a time that it stops.
For example, from this respect, from other, like, injuries of the negative sense, experiences.
Do you understand what she's saying? Freedom from negative emotions.
I mean, freedom in a broader sense, not only moksha, but we seek freedom from, freedom for anything or from anything.
Okay. That's it. That's impersonal. And we're personalists. So what's the distinction? Freedom that's defined by negation, and freedom that means connection with the positive. And the positive is the freedom from the negative is a subset of positive. That is to say, the pure devotee, if they're offered, would you like freedom where you're not restricted by anything negative? No, thank you. Really? What do you want then? I want love for the Supreme Bhagavan. And that's a desire. And I'm choosing it, so I'm bound to that choice. But that's happiness.
Yeah.
That's happiness. Positive. Not just negation of the negative or the negation of the unwanted. It's who we really are. And a position of happiness, of being who we really are. That's the Vaishnava perspective. No, I'm not. I don't want to be in a confrontational situation, because I think ultimately we're not. You and I are seeing the same, but maybe saying it a little differently. But I'm making an issue of how it's being said, because it can be misleading. Cessation of the unwanted doesn't guarantee, it's not by definition connection to what's wanted. And then, therefore, please tell me, what's wanted? Love. Love in a relationship of service where I desire the happiness of the beloved. That's love. And then the relationship that exists between the object of everything and little old me is that relationship of loving service. And nothing else. All the other something else is they're already gone. Let me just a nice verse Prabhupada would quote it often. Bilvamangala Thakur would say he became blind. It's the details of how that happened. He lived in Vrindavan for hundreds of years. He lived to be a very, very old person. And he wrote, although he was blind, he had someone scribe, and he wrote, I have no desire for liberation, whose liberation is standing at my doorway with folded palms, offering, please take me. And Bilvamangala Thakur says, thank you, but no thank you. There's only one thing I want. I don't want freedom from the unwanted. I want Krishna, the beloved, my beloved. I want to be with my beloved. That's all. The unwanted is inconsequential. It's there or not there. I only want what I want. That's love. Undeterred. Mind does not budge. Heart does not budge. Soul that doesn't budge from that one position. That's wanted. That's what real happiness is. And that's what that verse from Priti Sandarbha is saying. The real happiness and the cessation of misery comes from priti, or love, or the affection one feels in love. And then describes, a whole book's worth of explanation of why it is so. And anything short of that is not attaining happiness or cessation of material misery. Are you puzzled?
So then, all people who think that they live to be happy, so this world is a happy place?
No.
And now our duty is to make it happy.
Yeah, but how do you make it happy?
Then we don't have to study anything. We already understand the goal of life to be happy.
Okay, you understand the goal. Are you there yet? Not you, not you, but someone that says that. I know what the goal of life is to be happy. Aibo. That's it. Just make that utterance. That's it. Now it's a happy place. Not so. Why is it not so? Because I have other desires.
Those are not my words. If you ask anyone, they will say, my goal is to be happy.
Okay, that you're saying the same thing I will put on the screen. Should I go back to the image? The goal of all human endeavors is to become happy. This is analyzed. The goal of human being is attaining happiness and destroying suffering. Complete happiness and destruction of suffering is attained only by priti for the Lord. Do you have difficulty with that statement? You like it? Oh, good. Me too. I'll be happy to spend some time with you besides right now, and we'll go over this 16 different ways and see if we're in complete harmony. I think we will be. And I'll invite you, and I'll invite one of our learned devotees. Make some passages. Can you do this, Nervous? Just listen. Don't jump. Provide her with some passages from Priti Sandarbha so she can understand what's the message of Priti Sandarbha. Then she'll probably say, okay. I'm in complete harmony with that one. You know one another? You get to know her. She likes sharing things. Very enthusiastic. So so you'll get to know one another, and she'll share with you what's in Priti Sandarbha and why this statement is very reasonable. Although you're not disagreeing, you're agreeing with it. It's like, wow, that kind of wow experience. Okay? Okay? Okay. Thank you. One more. And we have 6 minutes. Who's the one more?
I don't. No, I don't.
Okay. Well, in that case, take it away. Oh, you have something. This is a how-to question. How can we get there?
Yeah, no, yeah, respect. How is it that we can show respect? Because I just not knowing how to do that internally.
Well, associate with those that know how to. Do you play harmonium?
No, Maharaj.
No. Find somebody that knows how to play harmonium, then you can know how to. One of your sons, do they know how to cook?
Yes, Maharaj.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, how did they learn? From one who knows how to cook. That's how they learned. You can receive something from someone who has that something. You can give something if you have received that something. So, one who has received this how to, you can give it to somebody that doesn't know how to. If you want to know how to, you go to somebody that knows how to. And they're not going to know how, but they live their life that way. You get bhakti from someone who has bhakti. You can't get bhakti from the gas station attendant. Or something, maybe if he's a nice devotee, maybe you get one from bhakti from that person, but they have to have it before they can give it. That's the principle, the how-to principle. Sadhu Sangha. Sangat sanjayate kama krodha vijayate, from Bhagavad Gita. You develop qualities like those persons with whom you have sangha or association. Okay? Yeah, I'm waiting for the abbot. Go ahead.
It's
I'm sitting.
how, I mean, is like going and inquiring a person, giving respect, just, I mean, how is it that one can know that they're being respectful?
How do they know?
Yeah. How to
Guru Sadhu
express
Shastra.
one's respect?
You've heard Guru, Sadhu, Shastra. The king is Shastra, and what Guru says and what Sadhu say is in alignment with Shastra says. So Shastra is the Supreme Court. That's how you know. But how do we know? Someone can read Shastra and they think X, and another one says Y, and another one says Z. So how do I know what Shastra says? Guru and Sadhu. Anyone who lives that way, those are persons that can help you understand. How do you know? Through those qualified persons that know. Let me ask you a question. Supposing you're eating and you've eaten sufficiently and now you're feeling full. You have to ask somebody. You can tell them, no thank you, I'm full. You sure you don't want some more sabji or some more rice or some more samosa maybe, or maybe some ice cream, maybe some sweet rice? If you're feeling full. You know the verse? You know the verse. Brahmabhuta prasanatma nasoshati nakangsati samaksarveshu bhuteshu. So there's symptoms of one who is situated like that. Nasoshati, no hankering, no lamenting. That's a symptom. Samaksarveshu bhuteshu. They see all living entities equally, consistently. Those are symptoms, lakshana, characteristics, by which you can know. She's got that look on her face like she's not convinced.
One has to be internally very full-fledged to be able to experience or give.
Yeah, sure. You have to have some qualification. You can't just be, cavalier. You have to be sincere. That's a qualification. There's some initial qualifications. You have to be. But like the example of feeling full, you don't have to be so sincere. You're feeling full. And guess what? Time for arti. Are you ready? Okay. No, we're going to end. Just look at the clock. It's 1 o'clock. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.